Rockstar families, and welcome to another edition of our VODCAST for the week of September 15th. I hope that you all had a wonderful week. I know that the Rockstars in Room 21, we had an amazing first full week of school, 5 days consecutively, and we're really off the ground. And we're hitting the ground running in all content areas. You know, we fully got guided reading going last week. And we're really totally immersed in some 5th grade content and learning so many new things so far. You know, our motto this year is hashtag, as we do in class, never settle. You know, we never settle for anything less than our best. We always talk about that in class. We've been talking about a lot about that with our brain and our mindset lessons that we've been doing in class. And so, you know, just ask your rock star at home some ways that they can make sure that they never settle for less than their best. So, hashtag never settle, rock stars. I would like to congratulate our rock star of the week for this past week, Brooklyn Perkins. Brooklyn has been taking the Barrett Academy Constitution and implementing it in her daily life. For example, Mrs. Austin and Mr. Fitzgerald coming off the bus ramp and they tell me, Mr. Reichard, a huge impression that we just had. Brooklyn Perkins came up to us, full greeting, amazing tracking, absolutely blown away. So I'm so very proud of Brooklyn for really internalizing that Constitution and making it a part of her. And for that, you are the rock star of the week this week. Brooklyn, congratulations. If you have not already signed up for Class Dojo, please do so. You know, in the Friday folder this past week, I did send home the student report. I kind of wanted you to see it and also get that login information if you have not already signed up. I update Class Dojo on a daily basis with all of your students' progress throughout the day. You know, if they have a green or a star or a house point, that is one positive point that gets that gets put into their house. And if they get a check or one of those reds in one day, that's a point that gets subtracted from the house that they are in. You know, in the last couple of weeks, I've been extremely harsh in class, just so that we can get up to the expectation that we expect with the Barrett Academy. So right now, you might be seeing your scholars report, and there may be many checks on it, you know, and that's just a way for us to grow and improve. You know, a check in tracking, it just means that maybe they were not tracking at one point during a lesson. So just keep that in mind, and I really think over the next few weeks, you're going to notice that your scholars report is becoming much more positive with not so many checks. So just bear with me. Trust me that we're working to uplift your scholar to an amazing, amazing level for the Barrett Academy. A couple of other reminders before I send you off to the strategy session. First, our back to school night is scheduled for September 25th. We're not totally sure of the time yet, but I'll get that to you as soon as I have it. But just keep that in mind, September 25th. This Tuesday from 5 to 8 at the McDonald's across from Walmart on Garrisonville Road is actually McTeacher's Night at McDonald's. The PTO is sponsoring that, so if you're interested in that, hope to see you there. And finally, a little later today, I will be posting the first study video as we have our oceans test coming up on Tuesday. Now, basically what I do throughout the year is I create these study videos for the scholars to use if they would like to watch them. Basically, I kind of walk them through the process of you know, what are some strategies that they can use at home to help them study? These are things that are really going to help to prepare them for middle school and beyond. So that will be available in a couple of hours on our YouTube page, and I'll also be sending out a link for that. Finally, I challenge you to ask your scholar this week to articulate different things that they're learning in class at home, you know, to really be specific. You know, when they come home from school, hey, how was your day? They were really working on trying to make those types of explanations very detailed so that they can articulate them to you. Or if they got a star or check on Class Dojo, ask your scholar to maybe explain exactly what happened at that instance. You know, that's one of our major goals with Barrett Academy. And that's something that we're working on over the next few weeks to kind of really become self-monitoring of our own learning. So check in with your scholar and see how they're doing on that. Now I'm going to turn you over to the strategy session. Like I always tell you, let me know if if these strategies are helping, you know, if they're hurting, if it's too much, too little, and I'll see you guys on the other end. Okay, Rockstars, I want you to think about decimals at home. Okay, we already kind of looked at this last week, but this is a good way to apply what we're learning to your everyday routine easily. You know, say that I'm going into the kitchen in the morning, I'm going to make a cup of coffee. Well, sometimes I'm guilty of just taking a water bottle and pouring it into my Keurig, you know, if I don't have time to actually fill it up. So if I look at my bottle of water here, let me show you it in the screen, you can notice here that there are different numbers on this bottle, such as 16 and 9/10 fluid ounces. Let me see if I can zoom that up a little closer. Or 1 and 5/100 of a pint. That's a decimal number in real life. So you can actually take those decimal numbers, simply talk about the standard word expanded form of that decimal. You can round that decimal, say, hey, I'm going to practice rounding that decimal to the nearest whole. Or, hey, I'm going to practice rounding that decimal to the nearest tenth. Okay, that's a real life example of a decimal number. Or you can compare and order the amount of liquid in each of these. So if this was 16.9 fluid ounces, 16 and 9/10 fluid ounces, and here I have a bottle of Coca-Cola, and if I look here, it also says 16 and 9/10 fluid ounces, so these would be equal. But say that you got a big 2 liter of soda or some other type of bottle that might be in your refrigerator, some orange juice, something like that, you can look at those different decimal numbers and compare and order them. Talk about standard word, expanded form of those decimals. Some other everyday examples, here's a box of Cheez-Its. Once again, that's 13 and 7/10 of an ounce. Okay, so there's another example of a decimal in real life. I have a few others. Here I have a pack of Oreos, which would happen to be Mr. Reichert's favorite cookie. 15 and 35/100 of an ounce. Or you can even take a box of Cheerios, one of my favorite cereals, and also find some different numbers there. Other places that you could look for decimal numbers would be under the nutrition facts. Here, if I look here with all of these grams and milligrams, I can find some different decimal numbers. So, if you want 2 house points, all I want you to do is find a decimal number on something at home. Okay, something that maybe you can bring in the packaging for. Bring in that packaging and show me how you applied what we're learning in class to that decimal number. So, for instance, you could take that decimal number and take a little slip of paper on the box, round that decimal number to the nearest whole number, the nearest tenth, the nearest hundredth, whatever applies. Write that decimal number in word expanded standard form. Compare and order decimals. Just bring in the product. You can get yourself, or just a box. I don't actually want the insides. And you can get yourself 2 house points, guys. Now I'm going to show you some excellent areas to work on some math concepts at home on our Class Fusion page. Okay, Rockstar, so I'm going to work on giving you a real-life problem every single week that you can kind of use to apply at home to see what we're doing in the classroom and how it truly applies to things that are happening in our everyday life. So what I did is I actually, since the new NFL season, since the new National Football season is only in week 2, we really don't have good statistics with that yet. So I actually just went on NFL.com, or you might also find this in the newspaper, and I found the football standings for the time period. Now, what I want you guys to look at is actually this column that I have highlighted, that is the percentage. This is actually the win percentage. So if you look at the team, the New England Patriots last year, they had 12 wins and 4 losses. Well, when you go ahead and divide that, we'll be talking about how to calculate percentages later this year, it comes out to 75%, or the decimal, 0.750, which would be 75/100 or 750 thousandths. Now, these are real-life decimals dealing with the National Football League and football, which is so very cool. So what I've done for you guys is actually just put in a couple questions where you can take what is on this chart and try to apply that to the actual data. So looking at the NFC West teams, if you look at this question here with me, guys, place those teams' winning percentages in order from least to greatest. So what you first have to do is actually identify where are the NFC West team, AFC West teams. So they're right here. Okay, now remember we're looking at this column that I have highlighted today. So place those teams' winning percentages in order from least to greatest. Make sure you show your work. You can get yourself 1 house point if you answer that question. Bring in the work. You can get yourself 1 house point if you round the winning percentage of the Indianapolis Colts to the nearest hundredth. Okay, so you have to find the Indianapolis Colts, find their winning percentage, round that to the nearest hundredth. Okay, you may want to pause the screen if you're still working on those. And now I'm going to scroll down just a little bit more. And I typed up a few more questions that you guys can look at. Round the winning percentage of the Kansas City Chiefs to the nearest 10th. What is the value of the 5 in the Oakland Raiders winning percentage? And write the winning percentage of the Denver Broncos in standard word and expanded form. So you can get 5 house points, guys, 1 for each question if you bring in your work and look at this data from the NFL, the winning percentage of each of the teams from the 2013 season. Another example of how decimals are in our everyday life. Now I'm going to take us over to our Class Fusion page because there are a couple of other important things I want us to look at. First of all, this week we are continuing main idea in reading. So like I said, I'm going to keep these guided questions on the website. Now, you may be asking, how could I possibly use these? Well, whenever you're doing your reading each night, what you basically do is to support the comprehension strategy that we're practicing in class, take the question, what sentence best tells what the story is about, or what happened just before blank, or the article is mostly about, and practice using those question stems to help you find the main idea. And don't forget that strategy we've been practicing in class called GIST, where you guys take 10 to 15 words, write them down, then you read those words, the words that came up over and over again in the text, and try to take those words and put them into a sentence. Okay, so that's the main idea work. This week we're really getting into our guided reading groups, beginning our first novel, and looking at some questioning techniques that we can use to better enhance our comprehension. Then I have some writing practice for you guys. This week we're really working on writing to describe. How can we take an object? How can we take a concept? How can we take a topic? And how can we really describe it? So here I have a picture. Okay, it's a pretty unique picture. And all I want you to do, if you have some time, is bring this picture to life by describing what you see. So bring in your description to share with your fellow scholars, and you'll earn yourself 2 house points, guys. So just bring it to life. Use that amazing descriptive vocabulary that I know you have to truly bring it to life for us. Okay, and finally, like I said, the Science Ocean video will be available very, very soon on our Class Fusion page for you to use at home. But in the meantime, I have 3 different links if you would like to practice studying for the Oceans test that is coming up pretty quickly on Tuesday. So make sure you explore these. And now I have that secret code that I'm sure you've been waiting for to earn yourself some house points. That secret code is, ready? Make sure you write this down. You'll get yourself 2 house points if you bring it in tomorrow. The secret code is #NeverSettle. That is your secret code for the week, guys. I will see you next time. Okay, Rockstar families, I hope that those strategies were extremely successful for you. If you need anything throughout the week, do not hesitate to call me. Make sure you sign up for our Remind count. Follow us on Twitter @ReichardRock. Check out our Class Fusion page as much as possible, and on YouTube with Mr. Reichard's Rockstars. Have a wonderful week. I cannot wait for what we have planned this week for the Room 21 Rockstars. You are the best families in Stafford County, and I'll see you next time.